It's time to qualify for Indy Pro 2000 as these drivers, their first of two qualifying sessions for the weekend. Joining me in the booth, once again, the spokesman for the Road to Indy Series, Rob Howden. Rob, Louis Foster, the points leader, was quickest in this morning's session. Think he can find the pole?
Yes, strong out of the box for Louis Foster from Exclusive Autosport. 3 wins coming at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway on the road course, then the oval at IRP, and a victory as well at Road America. So a bit of momentum and some confidence for Louis coming into this weekend here at Mid-Ohio. And to be able to go quickest in the practice session this morning is big, although nobody putting on fresh tires, no fresh Coopers. We'll see that now. This is qualifying for race number 1. We have another qualifying session later on today for race number 2. Both those races coming tomorrow for Indy Pro 2000. We'll wrap up the day with USF2000. But yeah, I got to think Louis Foster is going to have a lot of confidence coming in. But, and the big but, Junco's Hollinger Racing has been so good here over the last couple of years. Ricardo Junco's team has been strong. They won races with Stingray Robb. They've won races here before, and I think both Reese Gold and Anam Ahmed are going to be very strong as well.
Exactly. In fact, we had a couple rookies atop the order in practice this morning. Kiko Porto, again, no stranger as the multiple winner at USF2000.
Reigning champion, too.
Yeah, reigning champion as he moves up into Indy Pro 2000. He was second quick this morning, only about 2/10 behind Louis Foster.
And he's ready for a breakout weekend for sure. Again, last year's champion, his second year in USF2000, won the title last year, so he has that red, white, and black Road to Indy livery with the number 1 on the car for D-Force Racing. He needs the breakout, couple of top 5s on the season so far, but again, into the second half of the season, he's comfortable with the race car now. This is the time for the guys that really started the season as rookies to shine. You're not really a rookie when you're already so many events into the program. Yeah, rookie in name and with the R beside you on the results, but you've got enough track time now that you can really get at it here, Toronto, Gateway, and of course Portland at the end of the season.
Third quick this morning was Jack William Miller. We talked a lot about Jack and their new partnership with Exclusive Autosport.
Indeed, a technical alliance for Miller Vinatieri Motorsports, who has really been running Jack William Miller for the last 4 years as a single car effort. And I think anybody understands that, whether it's in the NTT IndyCar Series or any way through the Road to Indy. If you are by yourself, you come off the racetrack, you're only looking at your own data. You don't get a chance to overlay it with your teammates. He could be going deeper, she could be going faster through this corner, whatever it may be. So for him to be able now to be with Exclusive, get some of that data that they get from Louis Foster. He's working with a veteran engineer in Lou D'Agostino, so there's an opportunity for him finally to get that extra data that he's never had, and he has shown well because of it. We've watched him step it up already, coming off a couple of strong finishes, a podium at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and a podium as well at Road America.
Inam Ahmed was a 4th quick this morning in the 47 car. He's having a good season, 4th in the points, and he's coming off a couple podium finishes. He's got a 2nd and 2 thirds, but still looking for that first win. He's the only driver in the top 5 without a win.
Yeah, P4 in his oval debut at Indianapolis Raceway Park at the Carbonite Classic, and then I got a podium as well at Road America. Again, within the top 6, he's the only driver that has not yet notched that victory. And this is a guy that knows how to win races. He's a former British Formula 3 champion. So really for Anam, it's just finding that one weekend where everything clicks. He's had some issues here and there. As I said, Junco's Hollinger Racing has been very good. He's been kind of going back and forth with his teammate Reese Gold, who already has 2 wins. Really, cards are going to line up sooner or later for Anam Ahmed, and it could be this weekend here, the number 47.
And looking at the top 5, Nolan Siegel, another rookie in the series,
right,
but obviously with lots of experience in USF2000. Nolan 5th quick, only about half second off the overall pace.
Getting just going now. Driver's starting to put some laps in here. 2nd lap in the books. Josh Green from Turn 3 Motorsports won the season opening race of the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, but he rolls in here sitting 6th in the points as a rookie as well. Again, it's a 30-minute session, but they're going to get 20 minutes of green flag racing, and now I would expect to see these guys come in midway through and put fresh tires on. This is a racetrack you can do that on. It's not significantly long. We did see some drivers at Road America 4 miles in length. Maybe you don't do that. You don't have time to get back up to speed with the long in-laps and out-laps. So I expect to see, right around maybe the 8-minute mark. That way they'll get 4 minutes to get the tires changed back out for another 8-minute run. But again, Keith, and we see this a lot, not so much in Indy Pro, more in USF2000, you got to get that banker lap in at the start, because you never know when a red flag could come out in the second half of the session. You could be just getting ready to lay down that flyer, and the red flag will rob that of you. So every driver here on fresh Cooper tires trying to leverage what they can in the opening 8 minutes.
Josh Green and Louis Foster both into the 19s. The qualifying lap record was set here in 2018 by David Maluka, so 1:14.8. So we're a ways off of that.
Well, I'll tell you why. We made an adjustment to the race car a couple of years ago to kind of more longevity, more durability to the engine package, which is really the same engine that we run in USF2000, just a lot of beefier parts in it. We had some engine issues, dialed that in by changing the torque curve, changing the RPM limit. We went from 270 horsepower down to 250 horsepower, but the speeds are still there, not quite those qualifying speeds you would see, but the reliability in the engines have gone through the roof.
Braden Eves' car being pushed down the pit lane here. I'm not quite sure. That's not a good sign for the local driver.
That's not his crew doing the pushing either. That looks like a couple of IndyCar guys potentially pushing Braden Eves up here. I'm not sure how the officials will deal with that. So Braden Eves potentially not able to, what did he get? He got 1 lap in? No, he got 3 laps in, but he finds himself here on pit lane in the number 4. So an issue with Braden Eves right now. His crew's rolling down here, but thank you. Shout out to a couple of drivers or a couple of crew members from the NTT IndyCar series who pushed him up halfway up the grid. I don't know how that will play out in terms of a potential penalty, because normally you would not allow that, but his J. Howard driver development crew now coming down to meet Braden Eves, so a driver who is here in essentially his home racetrack, lives in nearby New Albany, now back in the 11th position. Number of drivers coming in early, Anam Ahmed and Louis Foster as well, so I find that very interesting that they went out and did maybe 3 or 4 laps. Essentially, you got to think what they're doing is maybe just scuffing in some tires to use in the race tomorrow. Just get those scuffed in, get a couple laps in, and then go at it. Louis Foster with the fast lap of 1:19.152 ahead of now Juven Sundermurthy. Jack William Miller 3rd, Kiko Porto 4th, Nolan Siegel 5th, Josh Green in 6th, Reese Gold 7th, Jordan Missick, Anam Ahmed, and Salvador de Alba rounding out the top 10. But this is not something we would normally see, guys going out for 3 laps and pulling into pit lane.
Did you talk to de Alba? He only got a lap in this morning's practice.
I had to go to a meeting, one of our production meetings, so I wasn't able to talk to de Alba to find out what happened with him. I'll make sure I do that. I did get an update in our USF2000 session, or was it USF2000? We had a driver off down in turn. It was not turn 6. It was actually turn number 9.
Right.
We kind of got rescheduled or refocused on that.
Got it.
And again, weren't able to get that car refired. Yeah, you go.
I was just going to say, Juven Sundermurthy up to 2nd quick, a 1:19.1526 again, and now Jack William Miller atop the order.
And Reese Gold into pit lane. We have all these guys coming into pit lane early, which really surprises me. As I said, I'm going to believe that they're just scuffing their tires in.
We're about halfway through, so
yeah, this would be the time to come in, to be honest. Yes, but to come in, guys that came in 2-3 minutes ago, maybe a bit of a surprise.
Nolan Siegel knocking on the door of the 18s, a 1:19.0142.
So
number 8 pilot for J. Howard.
So Siegel up top for D-Force Racing in the number 8. Yeah, 1:19.0. Everybody else coming in. Jack William Miller into pit lane. Foster already. Gold came in. Here comes Salvador de Alba. As we said, in the J. Howard driver development number 6. He's into pit lane. So for the first set of fresh tires, the first sticker Coopers, we've got Siegel on top of the 1:19.014, just over a 10th quicker than Jack William Miller. Juven Sundermurthy in 3rd. So really 4 different teams, make it 5 different teams in the top 5. So Siegel D-Force, Miller with Miller Vinatieri Motorsports with Exclusive Autosport, Sundermurthy with Pabst Racing, Foster with Exclusive, and Gold with Juncos Racing. So a little look at kind of the parity that we have up and down the grid, John, in Indy Pro 2000.
Yeah, and those top 5 you mentioned are within 0.2 of a second of each other. So it's really, really close.
All told, top 11 drivers within a second right now. Braden Eves, as we said, 3 laps then into pit lane. The issue were Eves, and nothing yet for Jonathan Brown, the Irishman, in the number 2. Here comes his teammate Josh Green down pit lane in the number 3, but we have not yet got a time for Jonathan Brown in that number 2 machine. And I think that's him sitting on pit lane right now, right? Is that?
I can't see the number on the car.
Exactly, right behind.
I think it looks like a team car right behind him, so I'm guessing that's the case.
So maybe a thought that they're going to hold a set of tires for Brown. He's going to roll out here right now with a fresh set of Coopers on.
Yeah, you can see the stickers on the tires. So
Kiko Porto into pit lane as well, the number 1 for D-Force Racing, P5 coming in. So essentially a full pit lane other than Anam Ahmed, who's rolled back out. The number 18 rolling in here, Juven Sunderworthy. So, yeah, it's right around that middle part of the session as we expected. Driver's going to bolt on fresh Coopers. Jack William Miller now rolling as well. So, watch for these heat times to be considerably quicker. I talked about the first 8 minutes. You're going to set the banker lap, right? A 1:18.9 for Siegel, 1:19.1 for Sunderworthy, Miller, and Foster, and a 1:19.2 for Porto. Get that banker lap in, put the fresh tires on. Now you got to hope nothing happens. We don't get the red flag that could potentially steal it away, because this is when the cars are lighter. They've been burning through fuel for the last 8-9 minutes, 10 minutes. They're going to continue to get lighter through the 20-minute session. So an opportunity now for them to go significantly quicker. I would expect down somewhere into the mid 118s, maybe even better than that.
Sure. And they're not permitted to refuel on the pit lane, correct?
We can. Well, you don't want to. Number one, you want the car to be as light as possible, right? So that's the key about qualifying in any of these cars. Is the car's going to keep getting lighter. You want to make sure you hit the tire pressure right. That you got to get the tire up to temp. That kind of operating temperature of the tire hits it right when the grip level's there. The driver's got to have open racetrack. So much is part of the equation of going quick in a qualifying session. But as these cars get lighter, the drivers will be able to hustle them around a little bit more. A little quicker on the exit speed. Drivers rolling out, as we said. Jack William Miller already out there. Louis Foster, Gold, De Alba, Ahmed, all out on track. No time yet for Jonathan Brown. I have to think Jonathan's kind of been near the tail of the field all weekend. He's getting a feel for this car. He's been about 1.2 seconds off. To me, I would have to expect that maybe they're saying to Jonathan, here's the benefit we're going to give you. We're going to save 2 sets of stickers.
Got it.
Both your races, you're going to be on sticker tires, right? This point, he's out here now, his first time on the fresh rubber for qualifying here. Maybe he might do the same thing for the next session as well. We'll see how it plays out for Jonathan Brown, but I think they may be saving some rubber to give him maybe a little bit of an advantage in one of the races tomorrow.
And again, to remind the fans, this session sets the grid for their first race, which is in the morning tomorrow, and then the second qualifying session sets the grid for the afternoon race tomorrow.
Yeah, they're back on track this afternoon for qualifying for race 2 at 1:35. We'll follow this session with USF2000, a qualifying session for all 3 of their races. The first fastest lap for race 1, second fastest lap for race 2 and 3. Although if they go quicker in lap 1, race 1, they can use that for race 2. If they go quicker than their second qualifying lap in race 2, they can use that in race number 3 as well. So a bit of a, we only have so many sessions on the racetrack, but we try to give them as much wheel-to-wheel racing as you can. 1 practice, 1 qualifying, 3 races for USF 2000 this weekend.
Nolan Siegel on the provisional pole, a 1:18.93. Again, the first driver under a minute 19. Juven Sunderworthy second quick in the 18 car, 1:19.1. Interval between those two, just about 0.2 of a second. Jack William Miller just improved to third quick with a 1:19.14. He's another less than a tenth, about 1/10 of a tenth back in third spot. Rounding out the top 4 is the points leader, Louis Foster, in the 90 car, another 124 10,000ths behind Jack William Miller.
So Kiko Porto back onto the racetrack now. The only driver still on pit lane. Whatever happened, whatever mechanical it was for Braden Eves, he's going to be down in the 12th position. That is not what he wanted to do to start this race weekend. Again, his home track, Braden Eves, potentially starting all the way back. We'll see if they can get that thing fixed and get it back out onto the racetrack, but some kind of a mechanical for the number 4 Jay Howard driver development machine. We'll see what we get for a lap time for Jonathan Brown as well, as he's going to finally roll things up. But otherwise, we got about 6 minutes remaining in this session. Cars are getting lighter. The tires are going to hit that perfect optimum operating window. The pressures will be right, and the drivers will have to go to work. Only one driver breaking the 119 barrier right now, and that is Nolan Siegel with a 118.923, almost 0.2 quicker than Sunderworthy. But here comes Louis Foster, your point leader, the Brit, in the number 90, goes a 118.8. He'll go to the top of the charts. 5.5 minutes to go. I think, John, we're going to see a lot of action over this next 5 minutes.
Exactly right. It takes probably a lap or 2 to get the Coopers up to prime temperature. And Rob, you were talking about that in the earlier session. It's the experience of knowing when the tire's at its peak. It makes the difference on the lap times.
And then when you get it to the peak, how do you actually manage the tire? Again, bringing it up to temperature a little bit slowly. There's a certain way. There's a method to the madness, let's put it that way, to get things dialed in and make sure that you hit that absolute optimum temp and optimum lap as well, because it's not going to be, it could be good on lap 4, it could be good on lap number 6. You got to make sure that you're put a nice tidy lap in on that lap as well. That's the issue. A lot of times you'll hit that absolute perfect lap for the tires with the pressure, with the temperature, but maybe you make a mistake, and this racetrack, you make a mistake one particular place, you're going to pay for it for maybe 3 or 4 corners, right? If you make a mistake in 4, you're paying for it all the way over to essentially Thunder Valley.
That's exactly right. Inam Ahmed, top of the order now in the 47 car, a 1:18.70, as he's about a 10th.5 clear of points leader Louis Foster.
Wyatt Prkacic jumping up there as well in that number 92 machine, the driver who now lives in Indianapolis, Indiana, but a Colorado driver. Prkacic moved over to Exclusive Autosport at Road America. He's currently P4. So it's Foster, Ahmed, Siegel, Prkacic, and Sunder Murley, the Fast Five. Jack William Miller jumping back up again into the top 5, and here comes De Alba. Pretty solid for De Alba, who really didn't get any lap time in that opening session.
Yeah, he got no running, and now he's second quick. He's only a little less than 2/10 off Louis Foster, so that's a great run for him.
Foster, Ahmed, Gold, Green, De Alba. A lot of action still to come. 3.5 minutes remaining in the session. As I said, cars are going to continue to get lighter, burning that fuel down. Kiko Porto across the line now. He's in the 10th spot. As you can see the shot here, those of you tuning into the Road to Indy TV app or watching live on Road to Indy TV's YouTube channel, we say hello to each and every one of you that are tuned in here right now. Thank you so much for joining us. We do appreciate it. We also want to welcome all of our guests who are part of the Road to Indy this weekend from Cooper Tires, in addition to other outstanding partners and friends of the Road to Indy. This is one of the events a lot of people want to come to, kind of the spiritual home of Cooper Tires. Obviously, you'll see the Cooper Tires signage around the racetrack. A lot of guests from Cooper here this weekend and next weekend to have some fun here at Mid-Ohio.
We're actually in the Cooper Tires press tower.
That's it.
Yeah, there you have it. Louis Foster goes even quicker, a 1:18.3. So he clears about a quarter of a second from Nolan Siegel.
If you are trackside and maybe you're not able to follow the timing and you want to follow all the action from the Road to Indy, download the free Road to Indy TV app at the Apple Store for iPhones or Google Play for Android mobile phones and tablets. Live timing is on there. All of our live videos on there as well. Either the Road to Indy or the USF Juniors app, you're able to watch all the shows. My podcasts are on there. A lot of news and information's on there as well. So to keep up to date with the Road to Indy, download that app and you will not miss a single lap of action. John, coming 2 minutes to go.
Nolan Siegel's been flirting with the top spot all weekend long, and Kiko Porto now up to third.
And let's just throw it out there. Obviously, qualifying on pole ski, but it's a bonus point as well.
Sure.
And when you think about how tight some of these championships end up being by the time we get to Portland on Labor Day weekend for the season finale, it may come down to a 1-point deal, and one bonus point up for grabs to qualify on the pole. Right now, with 2 minutes remaining, Louis Foster leads by over a 10th from Nolan Siegel. Kiko Porto in third, Wyatt Prkacic fourth, and Inam Ahmed in the 5th spot as the drivers navigate their way through that 4-5-6 combination. As a driver myself, one of the most fun parts of any racetrack you can run in North America. You're coming downhill, hard braking, back up the hill and cresting the top down to turn number 6, and then of course into Thunder Valley. That is an ominous turn for sure. The car gets so super light coming over top of that corner, and it really does separate a lot of the drivers front to back to be able to get the car to rotate there and get on the throttle through Thunder Valley.
Yeah, it's, a lot of drivers say it's the final corner on this track where you learn to go fast because it's so tricky.
100% sense. Yeah. Figure everything else out first, and then get that one done. It's tough.
Yep.
Well, and I guarantee throughout the broadcast this particular weekend, we're going to see drivers dropping wheels off of that corner because the car just wants to skate away from you so quickly as you crest into Thunder Valley.
And for those of you here in person, you'll notice that the walkover bridge that used to be there at turn 8 is no longer. So the vista is significantly better. So those of you in the keyhole area, you can see a lot more of the racetrack than before because that bridge is not blocking your view.
There you go. Louis Foster on top, time winding down, 30 seconds remaining in the session. Foster up by only 0.06 of a second to Kiko Porto. We talked about him needing a breakout weekend. Will it be this weekend for Porto? 2 top 5s on the season, currently sitting second. Potential outside front row starting spot. Foster goes quicker with a 1:18.267. He's a full 10th of a second quicker than Porto. Siegel and Prkacic currently 3rd and 4th. That would be row 2. Jack William Miller up to 5th alongside Sunder Murley. Here comes De Alba. Time has run out, so checker flag will be thrown on the back part of the racetrack as the drivers will go through the alternate timeline. We actually don't use start-finish for live timing here. They'll use an alternate timeline on the back straightaway that allows these drivers to get out of Thunder Valley or into Thunder Valley and work their way back up through, and then come straight to pit lane. So the checker flag flying. Siegel does not do it. He goes quicker, though, 800ths behind Foster. So thus far, Louis Foster dodging the first bullet, and that would be Nolan Siegel for D-Force Racing. He's P2. And Ahmed all the way back in 9th. Surprising for Juncos. In fact, they're 9th and 10th right now with gold. This is a team that has really been strong here. Let's see who else comes across the line. Braden Eves all the way down to 13th. That's going to be tough. Dead last starting spot for Braden Eves. Louis Foster still P1 with a 1:18.267. Wyatt Prakacic coming in P4, 1:18.5, his best time. So Prakacic holding on. Brown does not go any quicker. He's 12th with a 1:19 flat. But he picked up about a half a second from what he did in practice. 0.8 of a second separating first back to 12th. Foster does not go quicker. 1:18.26.7, the fast for him. Siegel. Can Kiko Porto get it done? He's still on the racetrack. De Alba 5th, Miller 6th, 7th is green, 8th is gold. So gold jumping from 10th to 8th. And Porto does not do it. And the driver rolls by us here in the Copart number 90, Louis Foster. Another pole position, big for him. Wow. Louis Foster, a 1:18.267, 89 thousandths of a second quicker than Siegel. Kiko Porto in 3rd, Wyatt Prakacic 4th, and Salvador de Alba rounding up the top 5. Foster with exclusive Autosport, Siegel and Porto with D-Force Racing, Prakacic with exclusive, and de Alba with J. Howard Driver Development. That's your top 5. And John, for a guy, Louis Foster, when he first got here, immediately said he didn't know how to, or wasn't able to fully capitalize and maximize the Cooper tires in qualifying. Man, this kid has got a hold of it, and right now the momentum is all there. Louis Foster on top of the number 90.
We talked about the top 5. 6th is the 40 of Jack William Miller. Josh Green, we haven't called his name much this weekend, is 7th quick. Reese Gold down in 8th. That's a bit of a surprise.
It is.
Yuvan Sundaramurthy is 9th in the 18, and Inam Ahmed in the number 10 is 10th spot in the 47 car. Again, a bit of a surprise that he's that far down the order.
Yeah, Jordan Missick, Jonathan Brown, and Braden Eves capping off the 13 drivers that we have as a part of the program here this weekend. Josh Green, 7th, will join me in the booth for the USF2000 race later on today. It'll be the final race of the day on track. Josh, a former winner in USF2000 and already a winner this year in his rookie season of Indy Pro 2000. But, man, I'll tell you, Foster and Siegel on the front row, both those drivers race winners. They come in 1st and 3rd, respectively, in the points. Kiko Portal, though, let's talk about Kiko and Wyatt Prakacic. Both of those drivers have not yet been on the podium here in 2022. What a great opportunity for these guys to start on row number 2. Maybe the breakout for both those drivers, like I had talked about.
Yeah, exactly right. Foster, though, on a roll. 3 wins in the last 4 races. Certainly going to be a favorite.
Yeah, 19 points up coming in at a bonus point right now. So essentially he is 20 points up. But there's your championship standings. 223 markers for Louis Foster, the Brit, the Americans. Reese Gold, Nolan Siegel, 2nd and 3rd. 204 points for Reese, 191 for Nolan. Anam Ahmed, man, for a guy that wanted to try to cut into that point lead, he's back by 39. Starting all the way down in 10th is tough, but not as tough as Braden Eves. This is the guy expected to come in here and potentially go for a race win. He ends up qualifying dead last, 13th. Only 3 laps in the books. Some kind of a mechanical, John, for Braden Eves.
Yeah, coming off his first win of the season in the last round at Road America. So,
folks, Cooper Tire is proud to be the presenting sponsor of the Road to Indy. Be sure to visit them today at the Cooper Tire display for a free gift. And while you're there, check out the all-new Discoverer Rugged Trek, the ultimate suburban cruiser. It's an all-season tire featuring an aggressive tread design that delivers excellent traction and comfort on concrete. For more information, visit CooperTire.com and follow them on Twitter and Instagram at Team Cooper Tire. So, Louis Foster rolling those Cooper tires to P1, a 1:18.267 over Siegel, Porto, Prakacic, and de Alba. And, John, the Road to Indy will continue on. What time is it now? We're looking a little while still before we get going. We actually got that rolling pretty quick because we have a 30-minute session, as I said, 30-minute time window. But the drivers did a good job, knocked 20 out, so essentially 10 minutes of break. We're back at 10:10 with qualifying for the Cooper Tires USF2000 Championship.
Rob Howden, thanks so much for being with us. We'll see you in about 20 minutes' time for USF2000 qualifying.
I look forward to it.
You betcha.
The official school of the road to Indy. We can also qualify you for your SCCA license. Get started today by visiting us at www.lucasraceschool.com.
It's your Uncle Cooper. Your SUV is a multi-purpose tool, like a corkscrew fish scaler. And that means your tires should be multi-purpose too. Like these Cooper rugged Treks. They're tough, but also run smooth as butter. And with dual sidewalls, it's like having a multi-tool that can look like a completely different multi-tool. Don't take that idea, by the way. I'm gonna patent it. Go with the Coopers. Cooper!
With over 40 years in business, High Tide Boat Lifts is committed to elevating your craft. Whether you own a personal watercraft or a large yacht, we can design and create the perfect lift for your needs. At High Tide Boat Lifts, we understand that you've worked hard to get to a successful place in life. We'll ensure you have a hassle-free experience, maximizing the time you spend on your boat with family and friends, and supporting your dreams out on the open water.
It's your Uncle Cooper. If you and your truck are constantly tackling the regular duties of the day, go with a tire that can handle them all. Oh, man. I stepped in it. Go with the Coopers.
drivers, mechanics, and
John Phippen in the Cooper Tires press tower overlooking the finish line here at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, standing alongside the spokesman for the Road to Indy, Rob Howden. Rob, we had a rookie, Nicholas DiOrlando, showing the way to his older brother as the quickest time in practice earlier this morning.
Yeah, very interesting for the Cooper Tires USF2000 Championship. VRD Racing went 1-2-3 in practice this morning. Of course, they had a sweep of the race wins at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway on the road course with the British driver Alex Quinn. We'll see if that translates into something here. We bolt on the sticker Cooper Tires for qualifying, but we just wrapped up Indy Pro 2000, a very important qualifying session for race number 1. If you thought that was important, this one really sets the grid for all 3 races and a triple header here for USF 2000. The fastest lap these drivers lay down will go race 1 this afternoon. That's the grid. Your second fastest lap is the lap you'll use for both race 2 and race 3, unless you go quicker in the race before that event. So if you're faster at race number 2 than your qualifying lap, you can use that for race number 3 and vice versa for 1 and 2. So very important for these drivers here, and I think maybe more than any event that we have on the circuit, because qualifying probably the most important part of this weekend in terms of overall final results here at Mid-Ohio. Though if you qualify up front, you're very likely going to finish up front.
Yeah, and Mid-Ohio has a reputation for being a track that's tough to pass on. There's some obvious passing opportunities into turn 1, into turn 2, into turn 4, but when you get on the backside, you've got to be a little more picky and choosy about where you're going to make that pass. We see some passes, dive bomb passes into that very tricky turn 9. We see them coming into and through the carousel turn, but it's not a track that is chock-a-block with passing opportunity.
Indeed, and you the term you use is perfect, because of the precarious nature of a dive bomb pass, right?
Yeah.
It has to be that. You've got to really be super decisive, throw the car to the inside, and maybe hope a little bit that the guy on the outside is going to give you the extra room, and that doesn't always happen in USF 2000. These are young racers, anywhere from 14 to maybe 19, 20 years of age. So, and they're all trying to win races. So I don't care where you are in the grid, they're going to defend as much as they possibly can. 20 drivers in total in the Cooper Tires USF 2000 program here. And as I said earlier in the day, this is really when things start getting crucial, especially if you're, let's say, within the top 6 of the points right now. Top 6, top 7, really top 7 separated by 63 points all total. From Michael DiOrlando, your point leader, who has won 2 of the last 3 races, all the way back to Thomas Naveau, the young Canadian for D-Force Racing, who's in 7th place in the points. Triple header here. Then we go north of the border to Toronto for a double header. Then we wrap it all up with a triple header. I believe it's a triple header at Portland on Labor Day weekend. There's a lot of work to be done when we get there, indeed. So all told, 8 races still to go, 3 weekends. But you look at the lineup of the points. We're into the second half of this season. Every race, every session becomes more and more important.
Michael DiOrlando fires the first shot, a 1:23.5 on just his first flying lap. He is the lap record holder. Set it here in October in that title-deciding extra race that was added at the end of the year last year. A 1:20.1824 is the qualifying lap record.
What will be interesting, we saw this, if we take anything from the Indy Pro 2000 session, right? It was a 20-minute, we get 20 minutes of green flag running within a 30-minute window. Indy Pro 2000 drivers did a great job, no issues at all. We went 20 minutes straight. That's what kind of extended our break here between the start of USF 2000. So they were coming in about 8 minutes into the session. We're 4 minutes in now, so maybe about 4 minutes, maybe a couple more laps, 3 more laps potentially, till we see drivers on pit lane. So be ready for that here at around the 8-minute mark. Thomas Naveau on top. And again, drivers trying to get that banker lap in here early. More chances with a bigger field and a less experienced field for a yellow potentially in the second half of the session. So Thomas Naveau, the Canadian, on top right now for D-Force Racing, a 1:22.953. Miles Rowe, who comes in second place in points for Pabst Racing in the black number 22 in second. Lockie Hughes for J. Howard Driver Development, making his debut here in USF 2000, coming off an F4 win here at Mid-Ohio last weekend. He is now third. Dylan Christie in fourth, Bajoy Guard fifth, as 3 of the additional, the remaining J. Howard Driver Development cars now pulling out. Ivagoras Papasavas, Danny Dzelski, and Jorge Garcias now taking to the racetrack and to cap off all 20 drivers. What this is likely going to give them, which is interesting, kind of an interesting set. as they go to the racetrack right now, they'll warm their tires up, and when everybody else is in pit lane for 4 laps, they're going to have the racetrack to themselves. I think that's probably what Jay Howard's concept is here. I want these guys to have my younger guys, because these are all rookies, right? Yep. Danny Dzelski is only 14 years of age. Right. Papa Savas is 16. So it's an opportunity for them to get out there with open racetrack, because they're going to drive around with everybody right now, and then when everybody else comes into pit, they're going to probably have at least 3 laps of clean racetrack.
Miles Rowe, we talked about him at length in the practice session. In the 22 car, takes the top spot. Chase Denmark second quick. Michael D'Orlando, the points leader, currently third. Jagger Jones up to fourth, third generation racer. He's the highest placed rookie at the moment.
6 podiums and 2 wins on the season for Miles Rowe for Pabst Racing at New York. Definitely a driver to watch here. Miles is incredibly impressive in that number 22 machine. And again, from Atlanta, Georgia, but goes to school in New York. So again, when you got Penske Entertainment as a sponsor on the car, he's been supported by Roger, and he believes in what the program is. Ran for Force Indy last year, 2 times a winner already. Like to get back on top of the blocks. It's been a while. He last won at Barber Motorsports Park, but again, he's on a run right now. 3 straight podium finishes for Miles Rowe. So again, for him, if he can dial things in here and get another victory, could get himself closer to Michael D'Orlando. Only 6 points separate first and second. Then you go 25 back for Jace Denmark, the other Pabst Racing driver, in third. So right now, a 2-driver battle, to be honest. But Mid-Ohio is a place where we have seen things change. You have an issue here, you go to the tail of the field, it always kind of shakes things up.
And Lockie Hughes is certainly in a position to kind of shake the order up a little bit in his first race weekend with the series. Currently third quick. He's only about a tenth behind Thomas Naveau and then Miles Rowe in the top spot as it stands right now. But we're only 7 minutes into this session.
Drivers working their way up there to turn number 2, the keyhole corner. We do say hello to those of you who tuned into the Road to Indy TV app or on the Road to Indy TV YouTube channel. For our Canadian viewers, happy Canada Day as well. Hope you enjoyed the day. A fantastic weekend north of the border, because we're going to be up there in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Back to the Honda Indy Toronto. Yeah. And I'm excited about that. And I'll tell you, I think that place is going to be packed. People are dying for IndyCar racing. They're going to get to see the Road to Indy. They're going to get to see the Pinty's NASCAR series.
Yep.
Porsche will be up there as well. It's a packed schedule. We're looking forward to getting back to Toronto. I love it. Obviously, just an hour from my home in Cambridge, Ontario. So looking forward to being there again alongside Todd Lewis on the PA. But it's going to be, that place is going to be packed, especially on Free Friday.
And speaking of your home being up there, have you been able to get home this year?
Oh yeah, no issue.
Last year I know there was a lot of travel restrictions.
Back and forth. I was fine. I've been going fine back and forth. Obviously, as a journalist, I can go back and forth. So it's been really good. And again, like we said, cross our fingers that things keep going the way they are with COVID. The restrictions, obviously, border restrictions for teams traveling north of the border as well have changed. All you have to do now is be vaccinated. We're not testing back and forth. Things are kind of calming down a little bit, which is nice. And of course, it's kind of affected the economy, as we all know. We hope things will kind of dial things back in now that we're kind of getting past it to a certain extent.
And just as we saw in the Indy Pro 2000 session, about 8 minutes in, we're beginning to see cars coming into the pit lane to bolt on that second set of stickers and go out and see what they can do.
Well, we figured, right, 8.5 minutes, 9 minutes in, time for these guys to roll in here now. Bejoy Garg, Nikita Johnson, Nicholas D'Orlando into pit lane, Thomas Naveau as well. Still a 1:22.359 fast time here now for Miles Rowe. Lockie Hughes and the Jay Howard driver development number 7. Now into that second position. Lockie Hughes, another one of the Australians coming to be part of our action. We've had Australians and New Zealand drivers over the last many years, so awesome to have Lockie Hughes with us. Thomas Naveau in third, Jace Denmark fourth, and Dylan Christie rounding out the top 5 right now. Michael D'Orlando 6th, Jagger Jones in 7th, Billy Fraser in the 8th spot. 9th, Bejoy Garg, and 10th, as I said before, is Nikita Johnson.
Nicky Hayes just behind him. Christian Weir, Nicholas D'Orlando, who was quickest in practice, and Victor Anderson rounds out the top 14.
Again, we won't put too much on the banker lap time here right now. You know that when, again, like I said, they started the day off with scuffed tires, their carryover set of tires. They had to go to fresh tires now. So this is the first time today on fresh tires. So there's going to be a lot of input coming from the drivers, right? Hey, we did a session this morning on the scuffs. It was this. you kind of make your educated guess on how good the car is going to be when you bolt tires on, because the minute you put fresh rubber on, it normally masks any issues with the car, right? Lots of grip. But when they come in here, they're going to say, hey, maybe a little bit of this, maybe a little tune here. Or the drivers get an opportunity to have driven the tires now with fresh tires. They put fresh rubber on. They may attack the track a little bit differently, knowing what they want out of those fresh tires.
And a lot of your drivers have open wheel experience, but a lot don't. A lot of these kids coming right out of go-karting.
Indeed.
And so this is the first race car they've ever driven where they have adjustability.
Very true, yeah. And if they came even through some of the schools, like our Lucas Oil School of Racing, which is our official school, we've had so many kids that have won their Formula Car Series and come up with a scholarship for the Lucas Oil School. No adjustments on those cars. It's get out and drive the thing, man. So you're right. This is the first opportunity to say, okay, I'd like this. Could I have a little more of this? And that's the dialogue that you'll get for rookie drivers with their engineers. And a lot of the times, the engineers will say, here's the car to drive, just go drive it.
Right.
And it takes the middle of the season for the engineer even to start to trust the driver a little bit, right?
Exactly.
You're pretty young. Don't tell me what to do. This car won a race last year. Just go drive it. And then once they start to get the confidence in the drivers and their feedback, then it really does kind of amplify the ability to find more speed midway through a session like this.
Set of stickers going on the J. Howard number 7 for Lockie Hughes, as he's going to come out and see what he can do to improve on his 122.3.
Yeah, look at Miles Rowan as well. There comes the 92 of Billy Fraser from P5. Everybody in pit lane now, though. We'll roll back out. Both of the Turn 3 Motorsports drivers rolling back out. Spike Kohlbecker and Christian Weir. Both those drivers spent time at the top of the charts yesterday during our testing session. So we'll watch. We'll watch these guys work to the front. Top 16 drivers separated by less than 8/10, actually 7/10 of a second. Under a second for the top 17. The J. Howard driver development cars are a second back, 1.4 back, but they're only starting to get into that window with their tires. Remember, they started late. So during this time here when guys are changing is when they'll be dropping down their best laps. All those drivers, rookies, Garcias, Papasavas, and Dzelski, learning this year to be ready to attack in 2023. Miles Rowe, though, happy with that 122.3. That's a good banker lap to start this off.
Yep, absolutely right. He's still in the pits, but we'll be heading out momentarily as we're into the second half. We've got about 7.5 minutes remaining.
One of the things I love about one of the things we have access here in the booth is optimal lap times. We get the segment times, and we can tell you what the optimal times are. It's essentially your theoretical best. You have segment 1, segment 2, segment 3 on the racetrack. You could have 2 great segments and blow segment 3 on the racetrack, the final couple of corners. So when we see optimal laps, it's the best, that driver's best sector 1, best sector 2, best sector 3. So Lockie Hughes actually with the best optimal lap right now, 122.2. His fast lap of 122.3, literally only a 10th off his theoretical best time. So Lockie Hughes, if he's able to stay in the top 5, I'm going to tell you, that's a signal to everybody in the paddock, the talent that he has to be able to get that job done. First time here in USF2000. So a really good opportunity to make an impact, a statement for the young Aussie. Rowe, Hughes, Naveau, Denmark, Fraser, your fast 5, but here they come now with fresh tires.
And Lockie got caught up in somebody else's accident in the first race last weekend and drove from the back well into the top 6.
Ooh, okay.
So he's got the right stuff.
And so the racecraft coming from the back.
Yes.
Shown with the blinding speed now, right? That's a lethal combination when
Absolutely.
you have speed and racecraft. I love it. A driver will say that when they start at the tail of the field. Oh, it just ruins my weekend. But really, when it comes down to it, what an experience for a driver to come to the tail of the field and have to pass a bunch of cars. It's an opportunity.
Scott Dixon has won one of his 6 IndyCar races starting on the last race.
There you go. John Phippen, folks. He knows this racetrack. He knows the results. He's called all the IndyCar races here. Indeed, Scott Dixon, again, one of the absolute best, a legend in IndyCar racing, no doubt about that. So he will go down as one of the best to ever do it. But I love that they asked him, hey, where are you? Like, obviously, people wonder where Scott's going next year, or is there retirement in the future? He said, no, 5 years at least I'm racing.
Yep, and
that's
I'm
awesome.
happy where I am. There was a rumor that he was going to go to Aero McLaren.
Yep.
Not happening. He says, I don't know, sort of like the F1 rumor mill. I think people make stuff up just to sort of
course,
get clicks.
Yeah.
And Scott said, I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm happy where I am. I'm going to stay right where I am.
I just love the fact that we're going to have Scott Dixon in the IndyCar for 5 more years. At least 5 more years.
Yeah.
So Rowe's on top. 5 minutes remaining in this session right now, but now's the time these drivers are going to start to put some lap times in. The fuel, as we said in Indy Pro 2000, burning away. These cars are getting lighter and lighter, and there's your first driver making the move. That is Jace Denmark out of Scottsdale, Arizona, in the Radford Racing School, number 23. He'll go to P1 for Pabst Racing with a 122.2. Miles Rowe still second. Lockie Hughes, Thomas Naveau, and Billy Fraser. That's the lineup from pre-pit stop, pre-fresh tires. So still waiting for everybody to dial things in. Denmark with the optimal lap as well, 122 flat, needed a 122.2, so only 0.2 off his theoretical best. Nikita Johnson, the 14-year-old who made his debut in the series at Road America for VRD Racing, moves his status up to 5th position now. Number 17 at Johnson, P5. Fraser and Christie across the line for the first time after their pit stop, so they're starting to bring some heat into the tires, as is Spike Kohlbecker. The St. Louis driver goes to 9th, and Michael D'Orlando, your point leader, to the top of the charts, 400s quicker than Jace Denmark, a 122.160.
Miles Rowe 3rd. Jagger Jones into the top 5. Lockie Hughes now 3rd.
Drivers coming out of the final corners of this racetrack, cross start finish line here at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. Again, 8 more races remaining. A triple header here, double header in Toronto, and a triple header at Portland before we find out who the champion is, who's going to take that scholarship for over $360,000 and head on to the Indy Pro 2000 category, following in the footsteps of Kiko Porto, Christian Rasmussen, Braden Eves, Kyle Kirkwood, Oliver Askew, just some tremendous drivers who have that USF2000 championship on the resume. This is one of my favorite corners of the racetrack as well. Through the keyhole, just so much fun. You gotta wait on the throttle because it's downhill, off camber, and such a crucial corner, John. You got to get on the throttle there early to be able to get that top speed down into turn 4.
And that was repaved in the off season. That's all concrete down on the inside of that turn, all new pavement. So it's going to be a little different than it's been in the past. And looking forward to, like I say, it's the most important corner turn on the racetrack because it leads onto the longest straightaway. So.
Into Thunder Valley now, a couple of the Cape Motorsports cars. D'Orlando still on top, 2.5 minutes remaining, 2:40 to be exact. D'Orlando, Rowe, Denmark, Hughes, and Johnson. So a couple drivers, one making his debut, Hughes in 4th, and Johnson only his 2nd weekend in 5th spot. Bejoy Garg, 6th. 7th is Jagger Jones, 8th Billy Fraser, 9th Thomas Naveau, and 10th is Dylan Christie. Again, less than 8.5 of a second separate the top 16 drivers. But D'Orlando's the guy showing it right now, but only by under 0.03 of a second. D'Orlando and Rowe, who are 1st and 2nd in the points, battling it right out. In fact, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd in points, 1, 2, 3 on the time charts right now. D'Orlando, Rowe, and Denmark separated by 25 points in the championship standings, and that's how they run with now 2 minutes remaining.
And separated by about 0.04 of a second.
Right, less than 0.05 of a second, 46 thousandths separating them. Miles Rowe, here we go.
Yep.
Sometimes I think that over the last 5 minutes, I just need to wait and say nothing until the last 30 seconds. So much changes in the end of these sessions. Miles Rowe now on top as he goes quicker by 6 thousandths. So Rowe in the 22, trying to see if he can't start on the front row, which is crucial here. We start on the front straightaway here in the Road to Indy, so you get that jump. You got the inside line for turn number 1, and very, very normally you'll get a better run out of 1. You let it drift wide. You're going to lead it down the back straightaway for the first time.
Yeah, you bet.
Rowe, D'Orlando, Denmark, Hughes, and Johnson, but stay tuned. Final minute of qualifying coming. Everybody ready to lay down fast laps. Cars lighter and lighter. Tires coming into the prime optimal window. Did you set the tire pressure correctly? Is the driver taking care of the tires at the start of this session so that they are going to be absolutely perfect when you're ready to lay down a lap? Rowe, of course, doing that right now, 122.093. Look at Johnson's theoretical best lap, a 121.8. He's been able to put that at 122.2, so 0.4 off of that. As Lockie Hughes is in the pit lane, that'll be it for Lockie. He's going to be P4 at best. P4 at best, because obviously more drivers can come, but still, nonetheless, Lockie Hughes has made his initial statement here, qualifying somewhere inside the top 10. Rowe across the line, no quicker. Still 20 seconds remaining, so Miles Rowe's going to get another one. Anybody coming across the timing line, the alternate timing line over the next 10 seconds is going to get another lap. Rowe being one of them. He'll roll that Pabst race machine out onto the front straight with a 22, pushing hard. Who else we got out here? It's the 17 in Nikita Johnson. He'll get another lap. Checker flag now being thrown in the back part of the racetrack. Billy Fraser's going to get another one, as is the 11 of Dylan Christie, the 61 as well of Nicholas D'Orlando, the 32 of Christian Weir. All these drivers, both D-Force drivers, the 10 and the 12, are going to get going. Thomas Naveau and Bejoy Garg. So all three of the D-Force drivers sneaking in. And the last one across the line looks to be the number 5, Nicky Hayes. Hayes may have got the checker, but he just blew the checker. So that's not good. Nicky Hayes went going around another time. He'll get a penalty for that one. The other 2 Cape drivers coming in. It's Rowe, D'Orlando, Denmark, Hughes, and Johnson. Top 5 right now, but everybody else on flyers. Final circuit, Bill. Final circuit here, Jim, with Rowe on top.
Denmark and Hughes both done, so Orlando and Rowe in the top 2 positions as it stands right now.
Again, John, look at this. Still 9/10 of a second separating the top 16. Denmark not able to go quicker. Jones not able to go quicker. He's 9th. Does anybody have anything for Miles Rowe? Does not go faster on his final lap. D'Orlando has to step it up. He's only a half a tenth back. He's still out on the racetrack in the number 4. Billy Fraser does not go quicker. He'll go 6th outside of row 3 alongside Johnson. Still waiting on D'Orlando. He could be the only one to go after Miles Rowe. Otherwise, that point lead of 5 will go down to 4. Look at Jacob Douglas up to 8th in the final lap. Jacob Douglas from 15th to 8th in the final circuit. D'Orlando doesn't do it. Miles Rowe, another pole position for Miles. That's only his 2nd pole of the year. And when he started on pole, he won at Barber Motorsports Park. So that bodes well for Miles Rowe. So Pabst Racing on the pole position with Miles Rowe. Michael D'Orlando, P2 for Cape Motorsports. Pabst and Jay Howard on road number 2 with Jace Denmark. How about Lockie Hughes, John? That is impressive. Like you said, a great run from the tail of the field last weekend here at Mid-Ohio. Good place for him to come and make his debut. All that seat time last weekend. Just kind of roll right back into it here with Jay Howard. That's the best qualifying effort we've seen out of a Jay Howard car so far in 2022.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Hughes in 4th. Nikita Johnson, just 14 years of age. He ends up 5th spot. He'll start alongside Billy Fraser on row number 3. Dylan Christie starts 7th, but wow, the really star of the final lap was Jacob Douglas, the young Kiwi in the number 90 for Exclusive Autosport. Bumps his way from, I think, 15th or 16th up into the 8th spot. Good final lap for Douglas, and Bejoy Garg and Jagger Jones rounding out the top 10. 11th position now is Thomas Naveau. He was P1 at one point, and that's how things change. He's now ends up being that's 3/10 back. He's 10th, less than 4/10 of a second back. Christian Weir will start alongside him on row 6. It'll be Nicky Hayes and Spike Kohlbecker on row 7. Victor Anderson and Nicholas D'Orlando on row 8. Jackson Lee, Jorge Garcias on row 9. And Danny Dezelski and Evagoras Papasavas will round out the 20-car field set to go racing this evening. There'll be the final session on the racetrack, John. A 5:15 green flag for the first of 3 races for USF2000.
So the field is set for our first race of the weekend coming up, as Rob says, at 5:15 this afternoon. We've got one more qualifying session for the Road to Indy, and that is the second qualifying session for Indy Pro 2000 coming up at about 1:35. But in between, we have the Stadium Super Trucks. We've got another practice session for the Porsches. The autograph session's coming up pretty shortly.
And John, if you want to have a battle for the championship, why not put them both on the front row? Miles Rowe and Michael D'Orlando, the top championship contenders, going to start on the front row for race number 1 of the 3 here this weekend. Again, the final 8 races. It's the drive to the championship in Portland, and both the championship contenders stepping up here in qualifying to start off the weekend.
Rob Howden, thanks so much. We'll see you in a bit for the final qualifying for Indy Pro 2000.
Thank you so much, John.
You bet.